running out of time, cause I can see the sun light up the sky. So I hit the road and overdrive. Baby, I'm going through a drought. You don't even have to do too much. You can turn me on with just a touch, baby. Oh. Blinded by the lights, no, can't sleep till it's dark in your eyes.
Hey.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to Loaded Mag NUFC away days. And look, feels like it was only 24 hours ago we were on the channel talking about it was absolutely smashing Man United 2-0 at St James's Park.
Yeah.
It was 24 hours ago, wasn't it?
23 and a half hours ago, Pete. Yeah.
Okay.
Less.
Just checking. But yes, still loving. In fact, up until about around 7 o'clock, I was just rewatching the game back for like the third time. Just enjoying the whole 93 minutes of his absolutely blitzing Manchester United. Fully deserved the 3 points, and look, we'll continue to talk about that as the week progresses. However, we are in for another away days because things are coming thick and fast with all things Premier League football this week. Just before we get the main man on who's waiting in the green room, Daz, I don't know about you, but I'm absolutely on a high going into this game. Are you with the same mindset?
Yeah, I wish I could have had the chance to watch it back 3 times like you. No, I was working away today, but no, I haven't even finished the interviews after the game. I got a bit further in after that, but no, yeah, absolutely buzzing. I know I got a few tweets and texts today about people are also buzzing as well. So no harm. But yeah, as you said, things are coming thick and fast. We're the turnaround is going to be unreal, and I know the Newcastle team won't even come back from London as well because there's another game straight away at the weekend. So let's get on with it, I guess.
Definitely. And look, before we move on, just got to say thank you to everyone that's already in the chat right now. We've got Brett C. Welcome, Brett C. Lisa Mole, of course. Lisa Mole is always in the chat, supporting all things Newcastle United. David Cook, welcome to the show. Join the team for life, as always. Thank you for supporting us. Connie Nielsen, welcome in as well. Tom Dixon's always flying in with questions already. He's not messing around tonight, that's for sure. Marco Poma, welcome in to the channel. Mike Gent, welcome in. Alan Liddell, apologies. Welcome to the channel as well. And look, get your questions in for Dan because we are going to get him on right now. And of course, we always look for the away days to get the opposition's view. And I am really interested to see what Dan's got to say. So let's get him in, Daz. Let's bring
in the Jamaican Geordie who knows all about Europe because we're going to be in Europe next season. Not sure if Dan will, but we'll definitely be in Europe. Welcome, Dan.
Where are ya, pets? Where are ya? How is it going?
He's back.
He is back.
Back.
Welcome to the channel, mate. Again, appreciate you taking the time. I know you're a little bit under the weather, so appreciate even more taking the time tonight.
Yeah, mate. Yeah, it's one of them things dealing with injuries like, so, you know, some of our players are dealing with, but you know, you got to keep moving forward. And like I say, it don't feel like it's been that long since I've done away days. It wasn't that long since we played you, really.
No.
Like a month ago, 5 weeks.
Yeah, was it early Feb?
Yeah, I feel like it was. Yeah.
So
yeah,
that's been a bit of a turnaround. That's for sure.
Yeah, this was the postponed game, I believe. That was
right. Yeah.
What, December?
Yeah.
Queen's
was it linked to the Queen? The Queen, yeah.
Queen, yeah, the Queen. That's it.
Because we actually had we actually had the away day set for the Friday because I think we might have been playing on the Sunday. So we had the away day set, and I remember we were kind of banging back messages to and forth what we're going to do.
You know what? This stadium, it was originally called Queen Elizabeth Stadium. This was the Queen game that's postponed for the Queen. Could be something in the air there. Could be, you know.
You keep clutching onto those straws, mate. That's it. You keep clutching onto those straws.
If I put it out into the air, I'm creating a story that can fulfill itself.
Yeah, definitely. But look, just before we get on to West Ham talk, obviously me and Daz just briefly talked about our win yesterday against Man United at St James's Park. I don't know if you got a chance to watch that game, but if you did, what did you make of the performance from Newcastle, just in general, and how is that kind of fixed your mind with regards to this game on Wednesday?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't get to see really too much apart from passing pubs on my way home from the game, because obviously we was at the game, was filming fan cams, reactions, editing, uploading. So I got to see bits and pieces, but it's an absolutely massive result, like huge for Newcastle, where it looked like for one point you were clinging on to fourth place. Now to be third, as we go into these last run of fixtures, yeah, it's a huge result. Man United looked like they would cruise comfortably, really, and it was everyone else battling it out for fourth position, and they're dragged right into the top four race. So, yeah, really, really big result. Can't be understated. Obviously, we look at that and think, it's definitely one where it almost felt like the fan base and talking to you, like it was sort of just a resignation of like, we probably won't get top four. If we don't get it, it's fine. Our season isn't dependent on that. To like this feeling of we could get this, like we could actually do this, we could achieve this. And it seems that stuff like that lifts the players. The players can believe it now. A big win like that, there's just a lot more belief, I feel, all around, rather than like, yeah, we're there for now, but it's next season we'll try and go for it, and maybe we won't quite get it, because you never came across confident to me of getting top four, Pete, when we were on 12th man.
Yeah, it's a strange one, because as I've mentioned to you guys before, whether it's been unloaded or 12th man, I've said I would have took anywhere between 10th and 8th this season as progress, because we finished 11th last season. We were fighting relegation for the vast majority of the first half of that season. So I'm not going to pitch myself with my expectations out there. But as we've gone on, I've kind of gone, you know what? Let's run with it. And you know more than anybody, just recently, before I dip, I was saying, we've had a taste of Champions League football. Now I've had a taste of potentially getting it. I want it. And I don't know about you, Daz. Like, are you of the same mindset, Daz, where you're kind of like, you've had a taste of being in and around that fight all season, and now it was slipping away, but now it's coming back. Has it made you more hungry for it?
Yeah, it has, but I'm still not going to give up my undercar or my underdog t-shirt. I think that suits us best. We're so used to that. We're not used to being like favorites for anything anytime soon. It'll happen in time, but no. No, and yeah, you're right. Like we got really confident for a while, and we were playing our Champions League song every show. We couldn't lose, and then yeah, we did take that dip, and it did look like we're set to miss out, but now it's back in our hands again. And these next three away games are absolutely key for us now. We pinpointed it when in our run-in show. So we need to get something solid from these games, and to make sure we're still fighting for it as we when we come to play Tottenham.
Definitely. So like for Dan, you might not be aware, we've got obviously yourselves on Wednesday, Brentford away on Saturday, and then the following weekend we've got Villa away. So they're not easy games, and they're all away from home. So that kind of will show the credentials. But just before we move on, you had back-to-back European finishes before this season. Like, were you guys as a fan base going in as like the underdogs in that perspective? Were you in a similar vein to us?
Yeah, because obviously both seasons we were in the race for top four, and we went deeper. The season we finished sixth, we went further in that top four race. We was in the top four both seasons for quite a decent period of time, and then just fell away. And we had that first season where it was disappointing to miss out on top four, but again, just getting Europe, but not having it for so long, we were buzzing. But in hindsight now, you look on it more and go, if only like one game, one result, could have been the difference to us getting Champions League, and then what we would have been able to achieve and kick on from had we have got that over the line. There's always that what if factor, and we've found ourselves quite a few times over the last nearly 10 years where we've been in that top four race and just fell apart. In the new year, January just completely fell to the wayside. And I think the fact that, it's April now and you're still thereabouts. And I've seen, West Ham fans saying like, look how we crumbled out of it and Newcastle are still up there fighting. And I know context of different seasons, other teams around you, what they're doing, but you're still there. So, I think you'll be happy to be in Europa League, but there's always that what if. And the fact that it's now, when it is in your hands and you just look at it, and like for Newcastle, obviously coming to our ground, which, I think it will be a tough game for Newcastle, but you have to look at that as a winnable game. You have to look at that and go, if we're serious, if we want this, we have to go to West Ham and win.
Yeah.
And just be like, I think, look, if we were to miss out on Champions League and get into the Europa League, I don't think we would find it as easy. Not as easy, and easy isn't the right word, as be as possible to get top four next year. We have it set up in such a way now that it is in our hands, and it's ours to lose to some degree. So we have to make the best of it. We don't want to be regretting it.
Exactly. Yeah. So if we know we've given everything to it, but we've not quite made it and we've not quite done enough, then I think most fans could be accepting of that. But if you look around, Man United dropping points, Tottenham, quite obviously, Lawless, you must be loving this at the moment with Tottenham, as you keep referring to them in the mud. You've got Liverpool dropping points all over the place. So the people around us, Brighton dropped points at home to Brentford at the weekend. People around us are dropping points. So it's not like there's one team that's flying, that's like setting themselves off and really going for it. So that's maybe the difference this season that probably gives us a little bit more confidence. But look, we'll continue to monitor this. And look, I would love nothing more than get Champions League football. And like Dan said, it's in our hands. So let's see what we can do. But look, got close to 100 in the chat already. Thank you. If you haven't clicked the thumbs up already, just smash that little thumbs up. Click the subs as well whilst you're there. Dan, I want to come to you now about West Ham United. Massive game for you yesterday. I think lots of people were watching you very, very closely because you're at home to Southampton and you won 1-0. I did watch the game. I thought it was a tight game. But look, what have you made of that win? And how has that changed your mindset again going into Wednesday from a West Ham perspective?
Yeah, I think it was a massive win. Like that game, man. It was a boring game, but it was nervy. It was tense. The atmosphere in the stadium, like first 15 minutes or so, the fans were on edge. Every misplaced pass, every sideways, backwards pass, the fans were all over the players. It was very nervy, and to get that win was huge because I said if we lost that game, we were down. Like I really would have thought we would have gone down, and I was there. I weren't going into that confident. I weren't going in thinking we'd lose, but I weren't like, we're just going to turn them over. And we didn't. We won 1-0. So. Yeah, it weren't like vintage performance, but all that mattered in that game was them 3 points. and you could see how much it meant to the players. And it changes. It doesn't mean we go on here. Oh, bloody hell, that VAR, man, in the stadium. Jeez. That was like the longest VAR check ever.
I was going to come to that next, but let's talk
in
about
the,
it
we're
now.
in the ground. And you don't know what's going on.
First and foremost, Dan, it was a fantastic goal by Aguerd. It was a great header. Brilliant header. I do question the goalkeeping. WHUNEW, I thought his positioning was poor, but it was a great header. Why did it take so long? It doesn't make sense to me. Daz, you might be thinking exactly the same. Like, that just did not make sense why it took so long.
Yeah, it was weird. Like, we couldn't figure it out in the stadium. Like, it was really hard whether they was trying to say Souček was interfering with play, or it was like his kneecap was offside or something. He did. Yeah, the injury time, that was really bizarre. The injury time for it, because honestly, it was an age in there, and it just ramped up like the nerves, because that gets ruled out, momentum goes in Southampton's favor and goes against us, because we're feeling aggrieved, they're feeling relieved, and thankfully we got that over the line. But yeah, honestly, like, all that mattered was them 3 points, because for our season, I'm not saying we go on a big winning streak now, we've won that, but the mood and the feeling changes now. We go into the Newcastle game a little bit more positive, whereas if we lost that Southampton game, the atmosphere would have got toxic there, and we go into this, completely in our shells. So it completely changes how we sort of our mindset, because like, once you're down in the dumps, it's really hard to get yourself out of that rut. And that, boy, I just think we would have lost that game. I just could not see us going then and trying to get something at Newcastle, then going to Fulham. I think we would have been finished, and I can't even be confident say Moyes would have been sacked either.
Well, at least now the both teams their tails are up, so coming after wins, so it should be a right all battle. And I know someone had it in the chat there as well, but we'll get to see Paqueta versus Bruno as well. That's the battle.
Yeah, he had a great game, Paqueta. Actually, he had a really good game as well. So I'm hoping that gives him some confidence, gives him a boost, and he can carry that form forward, because he was absolutely class.
Yeah, that's gonna be an interesting battle. That will be, because like, as you said, Daz, you're absolutely right. Bruno was obviously not available for the game at St James's, so it'll be the first time I think they'll have clashed together on a football pitch before, and obviously the best mates. So it'll be interesting to see how that one goes along. But just before we move on, you mentioned about the tension in the stadium, the atmosphere, and how it was kind of, every pass that went misplaced and blah, blah, blah. They were kind of getting on the back of them. Do you think that'll be the same Wednesday? I
don't know. I think that win now has changed it. Like, I don't think it's going to be as tense. And we were looking at that Southampton game, like, we should be coming into this and giving it, and being on the front foot, and we knew we had to win it. This game, obviously, we're coming into this, even though we're at home, underdogs. But that win, taking us out of the relegation zone up to 14th, like, I'm getting a nosebleed, changes it. It just changes the feeling. So I don't think it's going to be the same there. Like, if you score like early on, that could put that back on to the players, back onto teams, so the atmosphere could change. But until then, whatever the goals go either way, I don't think there's going to be that toxic atmosphere.
Because I was thinking that, because it was a little bit subdued at times, the atmosphere. I haven't watched the game, and I was thinking, if this is the same on Wednesday, this could really fall into our hands. And the way in which we play. Daz, you know more than anyone. We were talking about it yesterday. The way in which we play and the way in which we press, and we never let Man United stop for a second. If we're going to do that and cause you guys West Ham problems on Wednesday, do you think that will? I was thinking, would that potentially come back? Because it's the one thing that a lot of teams dismiss about us, particularly away from home, is that they think that we're not good, that they'll outwork us or they'll outrun us. Man United fans in the build-up to the game on Sunday were saying, we work hard, we run ourselves into the ground. I don't believe that anybody works as hard as Newcastle. That's just my opinion. I don't think anybody works as hard as Newcastle in terms of the way we press as a team, in terms of the way we work as a team. As I said, I've watched the game back. You can see us. We're 1-0 up, 2-0 up. 90th minute, you've got 5 men pressing the ball high up the pitch to David De Gea. We are literally like still forcing the play, even though we're 2-0 up and we should be just sit back because we're comfortable. We're not. We never ever let up, and I don't know whether that's going to be a telling point for you guys. But as you say, you're going to go with there with a little bit of confidence. So it's going to be an interesting one. Any question? I think there's a few questions.
You know what? I have to agree with Michael Palmer. I hate the Lucas Paquetá. I hate the way they say that. I always say Paqueta, and they really make a big meal out of it. Lucas Paquetá.
We only do it in this country, though. We're like every other country; they would just say Paqueta. And that's it. Like we have to change the pronunciation of the names, and it's
try and make it sound more fancy or something. Yeah, I can't imagine him kind of introducing himself, going, "I am Lucas Paquetá."
You're right. It just doesn't make sense.
Me up so much.
Let's go over some questions.
But yeah.
There's about 5 linked questions to do with Dave Moyes, so we'll put all those together down and throw them at you. First one from Mark Pearson. Lawless. Will West Ham stick with Moyes for next season? Another one to throw in there as well on top of that was Conte a Potter to West Ham. Dan? So
yeah, I wouldn't want Conte anywhere near. Like, if I had to choose, I'd choose Potter. But yeah, Moyes, again, there's a lot of like ifs in that scenario. His best chance of staying is obviously winning the conference, keeping us up. But even then, I'm not sure that will be enough. A lot of it depends on who's going to be our owner next, who's going to own this club next season, who's going to be in charge, because Sullivan these days could be numbered. So yeah, it's hard to say. I think a lot of fans want him out regardless. But if Sullivan got his way, I think he'd probably stick with him. That's the sad reality.
And I'll go back to Tom's question in a second, but let's go to Lisa's question, which after the weekend's sackings, has it changed your views? Are you still wanting Moyes to stay or go?
The thing is, I've been resigned to like the idea of him staying until the end of the season, to the point of, but I always looked at it was too late, although you have got teams that are still sacking managers. But I just thought if it got to that Southampton game and we lost that, to me, to sack him now, it has to be desperate, like absolutely desperate. Like, we lost that Southampton game. Players have completely down tools. They're not having any of him, and we're in free fall. And then it's just like you've got your hand is forced. Otherwise, just wait. Let's see out these remaining games and get him gone end of season. I want him to go. But yeah, a lot of clubs have been brave. Like Leicester, really shocking. I think he's a good manager, Brendan Rodgers, and I just think like I don't think he's fully been backed. And this is the problem. This is the difference with Moyes. He's been given 200 million quid. So. Yeah. That's a big difference.
So look, I've been surprised by a lot of the sackings and the timings of them because there isn't that many games left to make a massive difference. But does that piss you off, the fact that they've made those decisions and you haven't?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of clubs have been decisive this season, and we could have been decisive a long time ago when we had the opportunity before the World Cup, or those few games after the World Cup where we were losing. But we just took too long, and it got to the point where like, oh, well, no one else is out there. You pissed about, like, really and truly. So yeah, it does annoy me that we haven't been as decisive. But look, if we stay up next season, no an excuse. Do your homework, get a quality manager that can come in and fit these players.
Two questions from Tom here, one of our mods, Tom. I'm going to answer myself. I think Moyes is going to keep West Ham up. I said it on the Battle for Europe show. But do you think Dan, that he'll keep them up?
Yeah, like I said, I think that Southampton game has changed it for me.
Yeah.
I think that to me now, I feel like there's just enough there. Like I said, there's quality in that team. And we've got more home games than away games, which as well gives me more confidence because our away form is shocking. So I think with some of the games that we've got, there's enough for us to just about stay up. And it's going to be tight, I think, still.
Interesting.
Last question, and then we'll go back because we'll skip questions for a while. And this is an interesting one from Tom here again. If West Ham did get relegated, what sort of players do you think you would lose, and do you think you'd come straight back up?
See, a lot of our fans do think we come straight back up. I don't think so, because players that we'd lose. I was chatting to my Scott in the ground. Actually, was talking about this. Like, I think Areola goes. I think Emerson goes. I think Aguerd goes.
Aguerd. Rice,
obviously, yeah. I think Kura maybe could stay. I think Soufal's, his contract's coming up for renewal. He's at his end. So I think personally, my friend, mate, don't think he'd go, but I think he'd go. Ogbonna's coming to the end of his career anyway. Zuma would go. Souček could stay. He's not been great. I think Lanzini will go because he wants to go back to Argentina anyway. Like I said, Rice. Bowen will go. Benrahma will go. Fornals maybe could stay. I think Ings might go. Scamacca definitely is gone. Paqueta is definitely gone.
Yeah.
So then,
do you say Antonio?
Antonio, yeah. I can't. Maybe we can get Antonio. Obviously, he's had offers from Wolves this season, so that's a tricky one. But I think we could convince him to stay.
That's a lot.
That is a lot.
Yeah. Bowen will go. Yes, a lot. So it's a lot of players. Then we've then got to replace these players with championship players, because I don't think we can do what we did last time we went down and get Premier League players to step down. I think Big Sam had certain relationships with certain players that really helped. So then we've got to replace them with all these championship players where other clubs have got a head start on us and they've been building these teams for promotion. So then we struggle there. Even if we do go up, it's a disaster because now we've got a championship squad and now we've got to go and rebuild a Premier League squad. It sets us. That's why I can't understand. Like, people are like, I'll take the Conference League and go down and we'll come back. No, like relegation would really screw us over big time. So it's honestly, we cannot afford to go down.
No, you're not going down.
And just a link question to that. Sorry to take the chat off your dash for a second. To Corner Fraser said, if you do go down, what are you going to do? You're going to attack Europe, or or a promotion battle potentially in the Championship. He's put relegation battle, but what to do?
I mean, it's one of those things. Like, to me, if all those players go, and we do build this championship squad, we're just there to make up the numbers. Like, there's no way we're going to go deep enough in Europe with the sort of team that we would have in the championship. So you might as well just prioritize promotion charge to me, because I thought it's, if we can make it out of the group, that would be a bonus to me, really and truly.
Interesting, very interesting. Like I say, there's lots of other questions coming in. Lisa Moles just put, sorry, Daz, I'll take it off you just for a second. We can offer you Lascelles, Ritchie, and Dummett for the Championship. They're steady eddies. They've got promoted before. They know the role in the job.
No, I liked when we got bloody Kevin Nolan. That was the one. Give us another Kevin Nolan.
Yeah. We were pissed off when he got sold, weren't we?
He was quality for us. Himself and Andy Carroll had a great partnership.
Join us.
Yeah.
What a ledge, mate. What a legend.
And we've got we've got one of your favourites in the chat. It just popped up. Sorry, Daz, again. 1 second.
Oh, here we go.
These come to join us. might be the most sense I've ever heard Lawless speak, finally talking about the championship.
Look, he's hyped because his fossil got them 3 points. Like
Boy.
he's lucky because I think we would have gone above them. If they lost that game, we'd have gone above them. We're still only 3 points behind them. So listen, he can't talk too soon. Yeah, new manager bounce. Yeah. So let's see what happens.
Yeah.
We can still finish above Palace, and then he's fully in the mud.
Definitely. Look, we've got more questions. Like Daz, I can see the questions are
Popping up.
and they keep popping up. But look, we'll talk more about the game now. I want to get more into the game as we kind of move towards that prediction stage, which is all the all important. And look, to get into the mood of the game, let's get some stats.
Evening, lads.
Like magic, he appears.
Hi,
Welcome,
Keith.
Stato, Keith Roll, Doctor of Doom, or Fence Sitter, Splinter, whatever you want to call him. He is here. Keith, great to have you on the show as always, and pleasure to have you on away days. And look, what stats have you got for us this week with regards to the return fixture against West Ham?
Yeah, it doesn't seem like 5 minutes since we were playing West Ham last, does it? At St. James's.
wow.
This is obviously a rearranged fixture from September. But yeah, some interesting stats here. Some things have already been touched on, some themes already, but some head-to-head stats. Newcastle's all-time record in this fixture, played 141 games, won 58, drawn 40, and lost 43. In the Premier League, Newcastle have got the slight advantage, 17 wins, 11 draws and 10 defeats. Newcastle have got a good record at the London Stadium as well, winning 3, drawing 1 and losing 1 of the last 5 games they've played there. Newcastle have got more goals in the fixture, 65 compared to West Ham's 50, but West Ham have got the better defensive record. 17 clean sheets compared to 14 in this fixture for Newcastle. Eddie Howe, his record as manager in games against West Ham, again, a lot of that's weighted with his Bournemouth days. 15 games, won 5, drawn 6, and lost 4, averaging over a point a game. And David Moyes, his record in games against Newcastle, he's managed 31 games, won 11, drawn 9, and lost 1. So it's all pointing to a 1-1 draw, isn't it, really, on Wednesday? Goalkeepers. Nick Pope, he's got 13 clean sheets for Newcastle this season compared to Lucas Fabianski's 5 clean sheets in 26 games in the league for West Ham. Just wanted to touch on a little bit Naif Ergard and Kurt Zuma. They were hailed for yesterday's win for West Ham. Ergard and Zuma, when they've played in the same team 3 times only this season, but West Ham have secured 7 points from potential 9 in games that they've played together, and they've kept 2 clean sheets in those 3 games as well. So play quite well together. Callum Wilson, 10 goals in 12 games against West Ham in his career, so he's got a really good record against West Ham. Conversely, strikers for West Ham this season, Jared Bourne, 10 goals in 37 games. Miguel Antonio, 9 goals in 34 games, are West Ham's top goal scorers this season. West Ham, Dan was talking about earlier, the away record for West Ham this season, similar to Nottingham Forest, really, that we've had on the show fairly recently. Poor away from home this season, 1 win, 3 draws and 9 defeats scoring 7 and conceding 20. They've been steady at home, though, with 6 wins, 3 draws, and 5 defeats. They've scored 18 and conceded 14 in those games. When West Ham as well in that away run, they're without a victory in 11 away games, 4 draws, and 7 defeats. And with our last win coming against Aston Villa, and last season, as a contrast, West Ham won 7 away games last season and drawn 3 in 19. And the previous season, I think they won 9 as well. So they had a really good away record in the previous 2 seasons. At the London Stadium, though, this year, they're undefeated. They've played 5. They've won 3 and they've drawn 2 since the turn of New Year. So they're doing quite well at home. And since losing 3-0 and 2-0 to West Ham in the 2018-19 season, Newcastle have scored in their last 7 games against West Ham, and they've lost just 1 of those games. 3 draws and 3 wins. So they're doing quite well against West Ham. And West Ham, when they beat Southampton 1-0 yesterday, they're looking to go back-to-back and win with wins in the Premier League for just the 2nd time this season, and the 1st time since the start of October when they beat Wolves and Fulham at the London Stadium. And that rounds off the stats tonight.
Yeah, some interesting stats there. And record there is not too bad, which is not normally the case when we have stats for away games for Newcastle. But
can we have a cup finals played at the London Stadium? Just stop it from Wembley.
There you go. I mean, Lawless, did you realise that our record's not been too bad there over the years?
Well, I mean, it didn't. I mean, what was it you said? How many wins did you get here? Like 2 or something?
3 and 5.
Yeah.
3 and 5. Yeah. I mean, you know, it's one of those things, isn't it? Like Newcastle for us has been not so much bogey teamish, but like recently, it's not been. It's probably been tipped a little bit in more in your favour. So, yeah, it's not obviously London Stadium is not the fortress that we want it to be. So it's still a lot of room for improvement in that department for sure.
Definitely. But look, let's take a look then at the tactics board. Let's have a quick look at I've gone with a potential 11.
Oh yeah, I forgot to get you my 11.
Don't worry. I've put an 11 out for you now.
Reserves.
I know that
basically see Southampton game. That's probably what we'll do.
Yeah. Well, Ings started, and I wasn't sure, so I put Antonio in there because I thought,
and that is the one change that might happen.
Okay, so if I leave Antonio there, because his physicality against Botman and Shaw might be what they go for. But this is the team that I kind of put out. Is the formation, the setup quite seem about right?
Yeah.
What's that? Does the setup and the team for West Ham seem about right?
Right. Yeah. Like I said, I wouldn't be surprised to see either Ings or Antonio start. Antonio didn't really do much when he came on against Southampton, but Moyes' sort of comments about Ings sort of tells me that he could do that. Souček, so sometimes I see Souček actually playing in the where Paqueta is, and Paqueta next to Rice, which is just bizarre. Yeah, it's really weird because Paqueta has worked so well in that 8 next to Rice. He's much better there than at 10. But then you've got Souček there, which makes no sense.
So is it like that then, or is it like just a flat 3?
I think Souček has. I think it in the changes. I think depending on obviously with the ball, without the ball, but Souček will often be higher up than the other 2.
Okay.
And try and sort of defend a little bit higher up the pitch. But yeah, I mean, a lot of the time he just runs around like a headless chicken. Like for me, I don't know why we don't have Fornals there or Lanzini there. Really makes no sense to me. Or put Ben Rama there and Cornet on the left. Get some pace. That's
Is Cornet fit now? I put him on the bench, but is he fit? He was ill, wasn't he? He was suffering.
Yeah, he had a mysterious injury, but he's definitely been he's been getting like cameos and that. So I think he's fit. He's ready to go. Okay. And that's could inject the pace that we need.
Okay, so I'm going to come to you, Dan, for your assessment. So we're looking at the two teams here. Obviously, I've put the Newcastle team out that I think will start the game on Wednesday. Let me get rid of Amir on because he shouldn't be in there. But Daz and Keith might have a different perspective on that. But where do you see yourselves from a West Ham perspective winning the game?
Definitely not set pieces, because I think we've scored one all season. Really and truly, we've been shocking from set pieces.
Against us. The corner at St. James's Park.
Yeah, was that Paqueta?
Yeah, sure was.
That was. Oh, maybe. So maybe that could be it then.
God.
He's parked up now.
Yeah.
How we conceded the only set piece goal that you scored.
Be our second set piece goal of the season. But yeah, we just need to try and get balls to Antonio in behind Botman and Shah. If you're playing higher up, I think we'll probably invite you on a bit. Moyes will go cautious and try and be a little bit more direct with Antonio, or get the ball to him early on, or get him to hold the ball up while the others are coming in, and sort of try and create opportunities then there for Bowen to come into. Bowen operates completely different to Ben Rama. When Ben Rama operates much more like a winger, and Bowen just comes inside more. He's not that. He's not going to be putting in crosses. He's going to be trying to come in and get on the ball himself and take shots and find opportunities. So I could see Bowen potentially doing something. Antonio creating space, pulling players out of position. Bowen coming in and potentially scoring off of that while Antonio drags some players with him, because I think it will be a handful.
Okay, interesting. Bowen, I've not seen a lot of Bowen this season. I don't think he's replicated what he did last season, but
no.
You still see him as one of your main threats in the team.
Yeah, he's still a threat. He's not been great this season, but he is still a threat. He will still press. He still has the opportunity, the ability to score a goal.
He hit the crossbar yesterday, didn't he?
What's that?
Yeah, he hit the crossbar yesterday.
Yeah, he did. We've done that a lot this season, which hasn't helped. I still think he's definitely a massive threat. Other than that, maybe a penalty. I think we've had a few penalties this season, so I'm not sure how Botman and Shah are in terms of like how error prone they are and how likely they are to give penalties away, but that could be something that we could potentially utilize.
Nothing from Shaw and Botman. I'm getting words mixed up there. In particular, as a partnership, they haven't really given away anything in terms of penalties or things like that. I think the only penalty, if I'm right in thinking, against us was against Fulham, when Mitrovic double touched and didn't count off the back of that. But that was Trippier that gave away, which I don't believe was a penalty anyway. But we can discuss that all day. That's interesting. The potential for playing potentially for a penalty. What we do have though is that Pope has proven, certainly in the cups, that he can save a penalty.
By the way, don't expect anything from us from the first 15 minutes. We are the only team in the English Football League to not score within the first 15 minutes this season. There's a stat for you, Keith.
Oh no, it's going to happen tomorrow or Wednesday. Then.
That's it.
It'll be Paqueta on the return at the London Stadium.
We do not start games quickly. We're quite slow starting. So if we do score, I expect it to be like in the 40th minute if we score in the first half or something like that, 30th, 38th.
Well, that's really interesting because, and Daz and Keith will know, is that in games, particularly away from home, we do start quite quickly. And we start fast-paced. Like you look at the Leicester game, for example, we can hit teams really, really quickly and cause them problems. Like we did against St James's Park. We scored.
John Longstaff will get about 3 chances in the first 25 minutes.
And miss them all. Hopefully not on Wednesday. But no, that's really, really interesting because we almost kind of worry as a team that team's going to start fast paced with us. So if you guys don't do that and you ease yourselves into the game, I think that could potentially ease us into the game. If you're a team away from home, any team away from home, not just Newcastle, and you're allowed the 15-20 minutes to ease yourself into the game, that's going to build your confidence. Because one, you've not conceded, you've probably not had many chances against you, and it kind of eases you into a game that shouldn't really be happening. That's a big surprise. I wasn't aware of that.
Definitely slow starters, that's for sure.
Well, that's one thing I would say, Keith, Daz, that would fall into our favour. But Daz, I'll come to you. From a Newcastle perspective, this is the team that I've put together. Now you'll see that there's one noticeable absence, which is Willock
Brazilian.
The Brazilian, who put on a masterclass again against Man United, scored the winning goal. But there was concerns that he went off with potentially a hamstring injury. Now, Howe said in his press conference after the game that they weren't sure whether it was a hamstring injury or whether it was cramp. We'll know in the next couple of days, that's for sure. But I just think they might not take a chance on him, and we've got a ready-made replacement in Joe Linton to come on and come into that midfield. But so that's really the only change that I've kind of gone for. What do you think?
That is a worry. That is a worry, Pete, because like we wait for so long for Willoquinho to get to the stage where he's getting to score goals, and then something happens. The World Cup happened before after he scored again the break, and now if he's out injured for any kind of period of time, J7 will come in there and do an excellent job, and great to have another Brazilian to replace him. But we're going to miss what he's done for us recently. And of course then Gordon there chomping at the bit to get on as well. But Murphy's going to keep his place, and rightly so. And so is ASM from his performance yesterday as well. So I think that'll be the only change if Willock isn't fully fit.
Apparently, Newcastle are unbeaten this season when Jacob Murphy starts.
That's true. We are unbeaten when he started the game. I can't remember who said the stat, but I'm not sure if he started 8 or 9 games this season, and I think he's been unbeaten in all of them.
It's 9 now, yeah.
Yeah. So, interesting, but he's been playing really, really well and deserves his starting berth. I'm not sure how Emerson's been doing for you, Dan, on this left-hand side.
Yeah, he's been quality.
Okay, so that should be an interesting battle then, how these two get on, because the pace and the directness of Murphy has been. I mean, he terrorized Luke Shaw.
It's probably the right-hand side where your left-hand side where you get the most joy. I think Kerr is still settling. So that could be interesting. I haven't heard much about ASM this season, like how I don't know if he's been at his usual levels, but he doesn't seem to be like one of the highlight players of Newcastle this season. But he's still got that pace, and he still can take players on. So I think that's going to be a big key area for you.
Well, for me, he destroyed Dalot time and time again against Man U yesterday. He was very, very good. He played 67 minutes. I thought he was good. He got the assist for the first goal. Honestly, the amount of times he destroyed Dalot didn't know what he was doing. So that was a much better performance. If you ask me, against the Forest in the Forest game, he got pulled at half time. They said he had a tight hamstring, which is fair enough. But he looked back to what we would like him to be against Man United. So, and we know he likes the Olympic Stadium. We know he likes playing there. He's performed well there in previous games. So let's wait and see. But look, from your perspective, Keith, I'll come to you. Where do you see Newcastle United causing West Ham the most problems?
I think midfield, certainly. I think with Bruno linking up. I think Longstaff's back in the team as well. I think they could link up well. And then he's like up front, up top. Can create loads of problems. And then obviously if they need that extra goal to show the game up, bringing Wilson up off the bench, it's always a great option to have, isn't it? You know, we're not used to having those sort of options, really. Gordon as well. Could you bring Gordon off the bench? Lively as well.
Yeah.
Anderson as well.
Yeah, Anderson, Gordon. I mean, I'll drop Amir out here because I don't think he'll play. But you got these guys. Willett potentially on the bench. Target, Wilson, Gordon, Anderson. Having those type of players that can come on and make a difference, we've not had for a long while. But look, just how good. I'll come back to you, Dad. How good was Isak yesterday? How good was he for you?
He was absolutely unbelievable. He did everything apart from score. He was everywhere. Think I gave him 9 out of 10 in our ratings. But he was class. He's getting better and better as well. Like and we know now, let him run himself into the ground, and then just hook him and bring on Wilson, and then finish. Sorry, Dan, but that'll finish you off.
Hopefully that's the plan. But look, it's going to be an interesting one. We'll see what the lineups are. But I've got a feeling it could potentially be this team that starts the game. We're going to need to go strong because it's a game that we need to win. It's as simple as that. And so that's what I expect to see happen on Wednesday. But lots of different people will have different opinions. That's for sure. Looking to the game then. From your perspective, Dan, is it a must-win for you?
It's hard to. Do you know what? I think we're looking at like Southampton, Newcastle, and Fulham. Like for me, if we win these games, right, with one Southampton, we have to win these next two, which is massive ask. That's to me like we're cool. Like we can get a few draws, and like I'm not worried. So it's big, like, and I want to get out of this. I don't want to be fighting relegation for worrying about it till the last game of the season.
Yeah.
So it is crucial, but you know, a point to me isn't a disaster. I look at this and think, cool, okay, you know, Newcastle are third at the moment, you know, fighting for Champions League, playing really well, coming off the back of a big win. You know, a point to me, I'm not coming out of it pissed off. You know, context of the game obviously is going to matter. Like if we throw away like a 2-0 lead or something. So yeah, I would just not lose. You know, just don't lose. I'll take a point, and then we go to Fulham and then try and get a win. Like to me, 7 points this week would be great, or 6. Like if we was to lose this, beat Fulham, or win this, lose to Fulham. Either way, like 6 points minimum this week. I think that's positive.
Definitely. Well, what about us, Daz and Keith? Is this a must-win for us? We've done the hard part by beating Man United at home, where a lot of people didn't think that we were capable of. We certainly did as a fan base. We've done that and done that very convincingly. Is this a must-win for us? Daz, what do you think?
Yeah, they're all must wins now. I think if we want to make sure of our of Champions League, they're all must wins. We like it'd be pretty poor to lose. I know we were away, but to lose against West Ham and after having beaten Man United, you know. So we have to keep the run going. We're 3 wins on the trot, so keep it going. No, I don't want to even say the draw is acceptable because it's not. Keep it going. We want another 3 points.
Keith, are you the same mindset? 3 points is a must.
I think this game's out of the 2 that are coming up, even the 3 that are coming up, the 3 away games, tricky away games, I would say this is probably the one where I would focus on definitely and getting those points on the board. Really, a good opportunity to get the points on the board. I know West Ham have had that good home form since the turn of New Year, but realistically, where Newcastle have been going in the last few games, if they want to cement that top 4 space, that opportunity of that, it's probably the best chance. Really, I would say it would be better going and getting the win here than trying to get it at Brentford. I think Brentford's a tricky game, the way Brentford have been playing.
Definitely. And you look, and that's just looking at the league table and looking at where West Ham are in comparison to Brentford and Villa at this moment in time. But like I say, it's the one thing I won't discard is that, like you said, you've talked about Paqueta, you've talked about the likes of Aguerd, you've got players in there that can hurt teams. You know, you're in a false position for most people's thoughts with the type of players that you've got in your team. You know, with some of these players, you got European football last year. So it's one thing to read it on paper and look at the league table, but equally, we have to look at, from a Newcastle perspective, the games coming up and the confidence and how players are playing. And at the moment in time, Brentford and Villa are flying. I don't know whether you've got to come back to that, Dan.
Yeah, yeah, that's that. Yeah, you know, I agree. Like I said earlier, like you have to look at it as the more winnable game, really, on paper. Like if I'm in your position, you know, and it was seasons past when you were down there battling relegation and we were chasing top 4, I'd be saying, no, we got to come in Newcastle and get 3 points. You know, and I'd have a degree of confidence about doing so. So yeah, I think that's fair enough.
No, okay. We'll get into the point where we'll start working through a few questions, and then we'll look to these all-important predictions to round up the show. So, is there anything that stands out for you?
There's one here, and we'll let Keith finish his own cross here by answering his question. Here you go, Keith.
It's a question for Pete and Dan here. And you can, as well as Dan, if you're interested as well. Do you want Everton to beat Spurs tonight?
Yes.
You'll be cheering on Spurs tonight, will you, Pete?
Someone said,
but I would take a win from for Everton. Just look,
Yeah.
You guys know I want Everton down just as much as anybody else, but I would take that just to ensure that Tottenham don't go 3rd in the Premier League. Danzo, you might have a different opinion.
awful prospect to have to choose, because I want Everton down, not just because obviously we're competing against them, but I just want to see them go down. And obviously I don't want Tottenham to get top 4. Really don't. So someone said in the comments that if there was this situation where they could both lose, it would be ideal. But I have to look to my own club more so and edge it towards Tottenham winning, and that hurts. That really hurts to say that.
Well, what might happen is you know, Everton might beat Spurs tonight 1-0 or something like that, and then at the end of the season, they might get docked the points in anyway.
Yeah,
dock 15
that
points.
would be ideal. That'd be the dream. But I can't rely on that. My hope is that Tottenham, they get this little 1-game win. You know, new manager. Well, not new manager, but you know, Conte's gone. And they've got, you know, he's number 2 in charge, and then you know that's out the window, and then they go on a losing run. I don't think they're getting top 4 anyway, even if they win today. I just don't think they're getting it.
Yeah.
Cool. Next question then, and there's 2 together here. One from Michael Palmer. For Dan, do you still miss Upton Park, or is the London Stadium feeling more like home now? And there's another one. I suppose same thing from Gary. Do West Ham fans still dislike their stadium?
Yeah, I still miss Upton Park. It was closer for me to get to. It was a great stadium, the area proper. It was just a proper ground. It was just, you know, the pubs. It was everything, like everything you want from a football experience. And yeah, the new stadium. I'm late quite often. I miss kickoff like nearly every game because I have to drag myself. Like, okay. Yeah, right. Let's go. It's just not the same for me. And there's a lot of fans that have come round to it, and there's debates of people going, you know, about the stadium. But a few fans gave up their season tickets because they didn't like it. Yeah, it's not the same. In this season, they've done quite a bit to ruin the experience even more, putting up a wall between the home fans and the away fans, like crap like that, and it's just tiresome. So yeah, we got more used to it, but yeah, it will never, ever, ever come close to Upton Park. That was, like I said, like being in the championship at Upton Park. That was one of my best favorite seasons. Loved it. Great season. Being in the championship at London Stadium, graveyard. No way. Honestly, I couldn't do it.
I was going to say that you've got a 60,000 stadium now at the Olympic Stadium, but like you might disagree with this, but whenever I watch West Ham play, I do see pockets of empty seats. It's a little bit like Emirates is worse. I've got to say, Emirates is worse. They're top of the league. They're top of the league and on a title tilt, and you can still see empty seats in the stadium.
Yeah,
I do see pockets of that at West Ham. I was at West Ham last season when we drew 1-1, and even then, looking at the opposite end from the away end, and we were in the top tier of the away end. Looking at the opposite end, you could just see empty seats like pockets of empty seats across the stadium. Like, does that annoy you? Because it would annoy me if that was St. James's Park.
Well, yeah, it's one of those ones, like, especially like when we're having a shit season a lot of the time. Sometimes it's like the good season, like they've extended the capacity. A lot of them seats are obviously nosebleed seats. Some of them aren't. Some of them seats they don't sell because we haven't reached full capacity yet. So I think we've still got about 4,000 or 5,000 seats we can't sell. So we have that every season because we haven't been granted permission for the full capacity, which I think would be 66, 67, like in football mode. It was something like 80 something in Olympic mode, but like in football mode, it's like 60, 66. Like if we got it, would be the biggest stadium in London, like would be the biggest capacity. So yeah, there is that element. We get a lot of touts buy up tickets. A lot of these companies, travel companies, buy up load of tickets and try and sell them for like 300 quid. But yeah, some of it is that apathy towards the stadium as well. There is that where fans will go, yeah, do you know what? Fuck it, I'll watch it on the telly. Like, there's so many elements. There's so many different things that play into it. So it's not like one concrete answer. It's weird.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Right, let's go to the next question, and it's on two players. So first one is from Johnny Two of Life. Lawless, what's going on with Schumacher? Is there more than meets the eye? And then the other one is about Souček. What's up with Souček? This season looks a bag of nerves every time I've watched him lately.
Schumacher, I'm willing to take it on face value and believe what I've heard is that he's injured and he had to go and get that sorted. So although I don't think Moyes plays to his strengths at all, and he's trying to settle obviously in a new country, so I'm still on his side. Souček, I just think like really truly he suited us. He's playing counter-attacking football. Teams they hadn't worked him out yet. Late runs into the box, all of that stuff. It was effective headers, but for a midfielder, we want more from that. And his passing is poor, and his ball retention, his ability to carry the ball carrying is poor. And I think the goals glossed over that, and that's what we're dealing with, with Souček. And I like it seems like a great bloke, and it's a shame, but yeah, I just for what we're trying to do, it doesn't work for me.
He was one of your main goal scorers. I remember in the lockdown season, he was bagging goals for fun. I think he scored one of your goals, maybe even the equaliser at St. James's Park in the lockdown season. He looked an absolute threat. And if I'm right thinking, that was when he was on loan at you guys.
Yeah.
I don't think he made the move permanent back then.
No, it was, yeah.
But it's almost been like since he made the move permanent, he's almost down tools a little bit. I could be wrong with that, but I'm just.
I mean, it was all right, like for that first period, like after that. But again, it's just when you demand more from him, and we look at him then in that loan period, apart from goals, he didn't offer much. It was just the goals mesmerized us,
Right.
and now we don't really play in a way that focuses on Souček getting goals, and a lot of people know what to expect from him now. It seems so. Yeah, I can't blame him so much as I blame the circumstances, really.
Last two questions I'll roll in together here, and it's looking on a more positive note, Dan. So DR asks, after staying up this season, what are West Ham's objectives for next season? Top four are going for the title. And for Michael Palmer says, for Mr. Lawless, what needs to happen in the summer to get West Ham back on track? Is it just the manager, or is there plenty of players that need to go?
Can I just, before you answer that, can I ask you what is back on track for you? Because if it was Tobe's opinion, he would be saying back on track for you is back down, fighting relegation in the bottom half of the table like you've been doing this season.
Yeah.
But what is on track for you? Where you see yourself?
Let's remember, Tobes is a clown, so yeah. So that back on track is sort of ties into the other question. Like for me, fighting for Europe again. Whether that's, competing for top 6 or get back into even Conference League, back into some kind of European race. And that's back on track. And that's my objective for next season. We keep this European football going. If we win the Conference League, we're in Europa League, and then we keep it going. So every season, whether it goes like Europa League, Conference League, Europa League, Conference League, I take that all day long. That's it. Next season, obviously, there's a good chance we'll have to replace Rice. New manager, new approach to transfer philosophy, bring in players that suit a particular system, manager can get the best out of them. Left back, right back, centre back, obviously defensive midfielder, potentially striker. I don't know what's going to be going on up top. Yeah, mad right winger. We still need quite a bit. It's kind of scary when I look at it. We got a lot of players aging out, so yeah, it's crazy how much we need. So, but yeah, back on Europe. That's the aim.
Cool, great, nice. Yeah, that's really it for the questions for now, Pete. Yeah.
No, fair play. Now, look, this is at the point of the show where we look to our predictions. So yeah, let's have a look at what we're going to be thinking come the end of the game Wednesday, which I believe is on Sky. It's on Sky Wednesday night, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Right. Yeah. So look, we'll work our way around the houses. Daz, we'll start with you. So by 10 o'clock Wednesday evening, what do you think the score will be at the Olympic Stadium?
Right, I'm going Newcastle win, and I'm debating between 1-0 or 2-0. I'm going to say 2-0. I'm going to say 2-0. Be positive.
Okay. So gone straight for it. He knows what he wants. 2-0.
No, on the fence there, Keith.
Yeah, well, let's see what happens. Lawless, look, from a West Ham perspective, what are you thinking the result is going to be Wednesday evening?
I can't look past the draw, personally. I can't look past a 1-1 draw, which we got obviously at your ground. But yeah, we're not free scoring enough. Like we're scoring goals is a struggle for us. You guys similar, like obviously you're winning like the game, you're scoring like 2 goals here, 1 goal there, 2 goals there. So you're not blowing teams around. Defensively, we're decent defensively. So, but I think we won't be able to keep you from scoring. So yeah, I honestly can't see anything other than a 1-1 draw written all over it, really.
No, that's more than fair. I'm going to put my prediction out there. I think Newcastle will win 2-1. I think it'll be a tight and nervous game for pockets of it. I think, like Lawrence said, is they're fighting for their lives right now, but equally we're fighting for top four. And I think at times in the game, both teams will go for it. They'll have pockets of the game where both teams will have their moments. But I do think that Newcastle will certainly, if they've got Isak in the team and he's starting, will be looking for those goals. So I'm going to go 2-1 Newcastle. Now, obviously, of course, we get to this point in the show where we want to know Keith's predictions, and Keith has got what is it, Doctor of Doom. He's also known as Splinter. Why? Because he always sits on the fence.
Yeah, the titles just get longer and longer, don't they?
There's many more. As you'll probably see in the chat, there's many more of the names that are that Keith is referred to. 00 Splinter, I've just seen from Michael Palmer. That's another one. So, look, Keith, what have you got for us? What is your prediction for the game on Wednesday evening?
Well, can Newcastle win 4 in a row? Can they win 4 in a row? Because they won 6 in a row earlier this season when they were in such a good vein of form. Can they keep the levels that they were at on Sunday against Man United in that performance under the lights at the London Stadium midweek? It could be a narrow 1-0 win. Isak. It could be a narrow 1-0 away win. But West Ham could get a set play, because as Dan pointed out there about penalties, they've had 7 in their joint top this season with Fulham for penalties that have been awarded. So, but I think I'm going to go positive. It's the start of a week. Let's go positive. Narrow 1-0 win.
Hey,
Final answer, 1-0 win. There was a win and a draw. There wasn't a loss in there. We'll take it. We'll take it, Keith.
I'd just like to say the last time Newcastle beat Man United and qualified for the Champions League, the next game was also West Ham away. The season where they won 4-3. Unfortunately, that game didn't go so well at the old bowling ground. That was 3-0 to West Ham, but they still qualified for the Champions League.
Why have you brought that up, Keith? Why have you ruined it?
Get that DVD out, Pete. 2001, 2002 season, your favorite season.
You ruined it. You had us all in a positive spin.
1-0 away win. Keep positive for the start.
1-0 away win, and then you went draw, and I was thinking, oh my god, what are you doing?
If it's 3-0 West Ham, that would be beautiful.
When was the last time? When was the last time West Ham won 3-0? Have they won 3-0 this season?
We beat Nottingham Forest 4-0.
Yeah.
That's true.
That was in January. Yeah.
Dr. Doom strikes again. That's the one. Dr. Doom. Dr. Doom strikes again.
I've made my prediction. 1-0.
1-0.
Mark Todd.
You heard it here first.
Mark Todd put it in there. Keith Renault is back with his predictions. Oh my god! I can't believe you did that. You were on to a winner, and then you went back on yourself.
I didn't make the in defense of myself, I didn't make the prediction. I didn't say it was going to be 3-0. I just said the last time. For a coincidence.
Keep that in mind.
But all you've done is given Lawless hope. You've given him hope. That's what we didn't want.
He's sick. Come on. He needs something. He needs something to get him through the next few days.
That's true. But look, guys, massive thanks to Lawless. So we'll wrap up the show there because we've done predictions. Lawless spent a little bit longer than we anticipated, but I know you're not well. So you need to go and rest up and make sure you're okay. But no, thank you for coming and joining us. Keith, your predictions are always insightful as always, whether we agree with them or not. And of course, Daz, top man, always for joining us and throwing the questions out. Your opinions are spot on as always. And hopefully some of the things you predicted on the tactics will come to fruition as we enter a really, really busy week for Newcastle that could have a big bearing on Champions League football. But at this point, do we want to hit sponsors?
Oh yeah, forgot about sponsors. Yeah, let's give a shout out to our sponsors. First to give a shout out to the radiatorshed.com, and as we put Keith and Dan in jail, dying to get out. Yeah, so yeah, as you know already, and as we mentioned last night as well, and every show, if you need radiators, there's only one man to come talk to, and that is Russ. Russ, who will sort you out for all your radiator needs and heating needs. And if you need to get them installed, also contact Russ, and at the Install Works. And if you want to go even that one step further and sort out your bathrooms and get new bathrooms in, or if you know someone who is upgrading their house or building a new house, contact HUO Bathroom Design Co., the Northeast's largest supplier of Velcro emboshed bathroom wear. Team Valley Gateshead, over 20 years established, ran by the family. Get down to the showroom on 11th Avenue, Team Valley State Gateshead. And yeah, here are some of the bathrooms available. Yeah, nice bits of kit there. Yeah, so check it out, and they're also updating the showrooms, and there's new pictures coming as well for the Radiator Shed as well. So keep an eye out for that. It's just a quick shout out to our sponsors.
Yeah, spot on. Look, guys, we're going to wrap it up there. Thank you for everyone in the chat for your questions. Sorry if we didn't get to your questions tonight. Obviously, we had loads to get through, but we had to keep Lawless in mind because he hasn't been well. So he's taken time to come on the show, and we really, really appreciate it. So, look, best of luck for the rest of the season after Wednesday night, Lawless. Look, I'm sure we'll chat again on the 12th man and beyond going into next season. But no, absolutely spot on, mate. Thank you for coming in and joining us.
Thanks for having me.
No problem at
As
all.
always.
Look, guys, that's it. That's the show. That's the preview. Click the like, click the subscribe, come and join the channel if you've not already. Let those people that haven't seen the show see it by clicking that thumbs up and doing us a huge favor as we look to build the channel. Loaded Mag NUFC, and of course, with the away days, we do love playing away. Guys, how'd you like that?